Well, just a little bit ago, No Man's Sky 4.04 patch update was released, and it's said to have a lot of fixes in it. So instead of reading patch notes, I figured we'd go check them out and see some of the changes. Some of the major ones include fixes to Starships, exosuit upgrades and stuff. They haven't increased the number of total modules that will stack on each other. It's still 3, but they've adjusted the stats on the ship, so now our stats are at least as good as they were before. In this case, on this lucky Void Dancer I just picked up this week, the stats are better. So I had moved all my stats over from Void Dancer X and picked up the slightly nicer looking Royal exotic ship, and then also upgraded my other older ships here too, my Explorer. I'll say everything looks awesome on this. I mean, look, maneuverability is better. Hyperdrive is really good. It might have been slightly better last time, but 2500 is still pretty awesome. And honestly, I always travel hyperdrive with my freighter now. Let's check out some of the fighters too while we're at it. Minimight definitely packs more of a punch than it used to. It was never, I don't think, 470.6 for damage, and 1423 is the best this thing has ever been for maneuverability. So an improvement over before 4.0 for sure. So pretty much the only thing that I was kind of questionable on has been fixed in this, as a lot of the other changes I really did like. Here's another one, 1303.7 for maneuverability. That's definitely the best this thing has ever been by a couple hundred at least. I think I was like maybe 11 or 1200 best when I had it built out before 4.0. So they really have gone through and improved everything. One I didn't upgrade and work on was the living ship, but I want to see if it has more slots because there was no slots to improve anything. And yes, they did give me 9 more slots. So now I can actually go in there and improve things until I get some more spawning sacks to increase the inventory size on that. Let's see how the Golden Vector looks. Wow, 1408, definitely the best maneuverability. 502.2 for damage potential, which is definitely the best it's ever been as far as damage output. Let's take a look at some of the other ones that weren't able to fit in my hangar. One of my oldest ships, Pride of the Euclid, also 1354, definitely the best it's ever been. Hyperdrive is about the same as it used to be, and damage a little bit more. So really they kind of went back in, fixed the issue, and buffed it. Now I heard that there's going to be some like super slots, or like you can get up to 4 of these enhanced inventory slots. I don't see them like pointed out on these ships. I don't know if they have them or maybe they don't, and you have to like pick up new ships to get these super slots. But I guess if you put your technology in the super slots, it's going to be like enhanced or boosted to do even more than before. But honestly, I'm super happy with what we got here. I mean, these stats are better than what they were prior to 4.0. Damage is definitely better here as I'm checking out these different stats. So yeah, I mean, that is a great setup right there for the Nautilus Allure. See, I think I had one more. I don't think I checked out my solar ship yet, so let's check out the Blue Streak and see how that does. This should definitely have the best, yeah, best maneuverability, and that's the best maneuverability I think I've had on any ship on this account, or on this save, I should say. So that's awesome, yeah, and damage has also been improved, I can see, 481.3. So yeah, so if you were worried about your ships before, and I mean, they are still simpler as far as setup, but the end result of the stats is better than before. So it's just a little easier to build out a really good ship now with less modules. So we'll go ahead and take out the new Lucky Void Dancer. And I wanted to show you guys too some of the changes to exocrafts. Not a lot of people have talked about exocrafts much, as they weren't really used a lot except for the mech. Of course, everybody loves the mech. But since the changes last time, and I was really wanting to say this in the last video, that they've improved the inventory holdings, and you know, now you can actually upgrade your tech more too, as they also increase the amount of space for just tech upgrades. So you can fully build out your different exocrafts now. This is Rakis, which I just ran into. I like this planet. I'm probably going to try to set up my settlement here at some point. I'm just kind of finishing up my settlement from Rasek Prime. It's like an A class right now, probably the best it will get. I've always kind of liked these glowy worlds, so I think I'm going to set up here and we'll try a new one and maybe pull off an S-class at some point on one of these settlements. It seems pretty hard to do. Anyway, a little bit about these exocrafts. I'll give you a story from earlier in the week here, as we'll travel back in time here shortly. But see the extra inventory and technology you have now? So here I am on Lemedius earlier in the week, which is a droid world. I was out droid hunting, trying to pick up some more pets to lay eggs and give away on the space station. But yeah, I was having a hard time getting up the side of this hill. Even on my pet, climbing up the side, I was having a hard time reaching the top, and I wanted to build an outpost up top because of the aggressive sentinels on this world. So I always, find a real tall peak, build up there, and the sentinels wouldn't bother you. So I ended up pulling out the Pilgrim, and I had upgraded it just a little bit. Not really the weapons or anything yet, but I had put a little bit better grip on the tires, and of course the booster and the engine have been improved and everything like that. But this really came in clutch. This is back in 4.0, prior to the update we just got a little bit ago, where our jetpacks weren't quite as powerful. But look at this, man. I'm like scaling the side of this really, really steep incline. No problem, just basically boosting tapping boost, and is easily climbing this thing. So if you're having a hard time getting up real steep inclines with your jetpack, especially on these positive slopes, you might just try this and just bail at the top here like I do and just toss your bike over the side. Anyway, so I built a little outpost up here so I can come back any old time and pick up droids. And so here we go. We got Lemedius Droid Refuge Mad Sentinel Hideout. And just to show you how high it was, we'll go back down and take a jump off to see. I made a little diving board here just to show you how high we actually traversed on that bike. So if you haven't used exocrafts outside of your mech, I would recommend checking them out. The Roamer, the Pilgrim, the Nomad, they're all really nice now. Even the Colossus is useful. They seem, I don't know if it's just me, but they seem a little faster. They definitely have a lot more inventory, and then they can mine and traverse the ground a lot quicker than you can on foot. So I think they're all viable now. I mean, before it was really just the mech suit that everybody was using, but now I feel like you can do a lot with the Pilgrim and Nomad. So anyway, back here to Rakus. I've been using these a lot more, and I mean, now that yes, the drip packs have been fixed and ships and everything are great again, I would still recommend checking them out if you haven't, because you might end up saving yourself a lot of time exploring worlds and stuff with something like the Pilgrim. I guess I can also show you the Roamer here in a second. That was one I used to use a lot before the mech really got improved and everybody started using it. But that's also got a lot more inventory room, and then you can also get all your hazard protections where you're like fully immune to anything. So if you're struggling, or if you're playing like on survival, or if you're playing on permadeath or something like that, this should really come in handy. And pretty good air on these too. If you jump off the cliffs and stuff like that and hit boost, you can really get some pretty nice air. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I've been up to this last week, but so far I'm really liking the changes here in 4.4. They seem good, and they addressed a lot of the things that people had a problem with, mainly just the inventory reduction in technology slots, and they just basically fixed it in a different way just by boosting all our native ability. And I mean, 1457 and 435 and everything, that's definitely the best stats this thing's ever been at. So pretty overall happy with the results, and it does mean that like upgrading ships is not going to be as tedious and difficult as it was before, as far as finding all the upgrades and having to unlock twice as many slots. So pretty good changes. One thing let's do real quick too, I wanted to see if we could see some of the nomentation by people's names on if they have locked in their game, or if they're playing with difficulty settings you can still switch on the fly. I guess they added a star by people's names who decided to lock in their settings, and so I just wanted to see if we see anything different. So we'll come here to the hub, check out some people's names and stuff like that, and see if we notice anything different. So far I just see little dots, but maybe it's just because I'm not like fully loaded in yet. Let's check out this Gek here. So he's a PC player, short bar under his name. I'm not seeing any stars, so I guess he's just a player who hasn't locked in his settings. Let's see if anybody else has got like a different setup on there. Here's somebody checking out the upgrades here. Same thing. So that looks like somebody playing on probably the Steam Deck or Xbox or something. So you really got to get up on people to even notice the difference. That's someone playing on Steam. We got another controller player, maybe Steam Deck player. So yeah, I mean, I'm not even noticing anything different. So I think that's kind of a non-issue. I know people were at first worried because they were initially talking about like putting a star by your name if you had ever changed your settings or something to easier, which I thought was kind of silly. But now they've changed it where I guess it gives you a star or something if you lock in your settings. So anyway, yeah, this seems like a great patch. I'm happy with it. I was, not dissatisfied with 4.0 to begin with, but I see why people were upset about it. And it was kind of a pain having to switch all the settings and everything, or switch all your ships around. But now I just have the living ship to worry about. So overall, pretty good. I guess we'll wrap this up. I'm going to go pull my expeditions off and see what I've earned off the last round of missions I sent them out on. So we'll do that. And what's next? I'll probably be working on fixing up my living ship, as I have those extra slots now where it's going to be a little easier to do your upgrades. So if you haven't logged in yet because of the last patch, and I would recommend doing it now, as you should have extra slots on your ship to be able to upgrade all your ships exactly the way you want them, and the results should be as good or better than they were before, but you'll end up with just some extra modules that you can sell. Or, like I did, I just took those extra modules and threw them in my other ships. So, my ships have more weapon types now, basically. So if they had maybe the phase beams and photon cannons before, I added the infraknife and positron ejector or something like that to it. And with the changes now, with them being just as strong as before, it's kind of a win because you end up getting more weapon variety at the same strength as what you had prior to 4.0. It's impressive to me that Hello Games took the time to listen to the feedback and make some changes to the game that would keep people who liked the patch happy, while also addressing the issues that the people who really didn't like 4.0 had, and did it in a creative way, bringing back a lot of the ship stats we have here to where they were before, or better in my case, and fixing some of the concerns people had too with not being able to tell if someone had locked in settings or not. So, that's interesting to me, and I'm glad that they've worked so hard on it. This patch definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me, and thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe. Thank you. Later.